Those will use 7 amps as well. So most of your house breakers are about 20 amps. So you want to have less than, you want to have 2 games per breaker hooked up on your floor, no more than that. Otherwise, you're going to have power problems.
2 games?
Right, for Monopoly. Anything that has a top box unit, you'll see there'll be 2 plugs coming out of the bottom. On a Monopoly game, you have the top box, which has 24 volts as its power supply, and the regular unit, which uses the PDU, tri-output supply, and that's standard 4 amps. So most everybody plugs their games into a power strip, correct? A line filter of some type. That's for spike protection. I'm sure you get a lot of lightning strikes up in this area. Has anybody experienced that when you get a lightning strike and then a game goes out or something strange happens afterward? I'm sure you might have seen a few strange things happen.
Have that problem because you guys are up higher and really exposed.
Yeah. So you want to be, so a line voltage filter, actually you don't have one hooked up here, do you?
What's that? Power strip?
Yeah, power strip, yeah, there's one back there. Yeah, it's a surge arrest. Right. And that normally, sometimes will protect the game from lightning strikes, other times it won't. Lightning can get through there. Okay. Now if you go like the third, yes?
The Monopolies are only 2 per gram, basically?
2 per circuit.
Per circuit.
Right.
And why is that, Ron?
Well, if you do your basic edition, you've got 7 amps on one Monopoly game, 7 on another, that's 14.
Oh, there's 7 amps. Oh, I guess I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if you have 14 and you try to hook a third one up, it's going to go to 21 amps. And you're going to exceed your amperage rating by 1 amp.
Boy, that
And
seems like a lot of current for just a
well, that's based on the game being in full, the hopper working, the bill validators, you know, the games are being played heavily. And if they're sitting idle, they're not using that much amperage. The hopper uses, you know, it'll raise the amperage by maybe about 1 amp or so. And if the game's sitting idle, then, well, the reason we like to do that is just to be safe, so that you won't blow a breaker, or if you get excessive voltage being used, then your current, if your current's being used, excessive current, then your voltage drops. When your voltage drops, you can have problems with like a game locking up maybe. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, where a game will lock up and you have to power it down, power it up, and reset it. Okay. You might want to check your basic surge protector, make sure your plugs are plugged in correctly. You don't have more than 3 Monopoly games per circuit. Or in some cases, if you just have a regular, what we call the 550 model, which is the upright, 4 per circuit is what you want to have with those. They use 4 amps each. 4 times 4 is 16. So you're using 16 amps per circuit. So 4 games per circuit on a regular upright are fine. Anything more than that, you're getting pretty close to the 20 amp, you know, peak. You don't want to go over that. Then you might start having problems. Now, okay, in your folder, I have a video game part number specification sheet, and this is for the XU3 EEPROM. Okay, over to the left here, there is a number right there. In this particular one, it says V1.
You can bring that closer too, Ron. It'll look better. The closer you get, the better.
Okay, I'll
I can do that.
look at your LCD here. I can't see it well myself, but V123-X. Okay, that would work. -0-210AA. And what that is referring to is your XU3 game EEPROM, which is the one I showed you. Yes, XU3 game EEPROM. And you'll see it on the label here as well, if you were to look at your EEPROM on your CPU board. Right there. Now, you'll notice This one here is a yellow highlight on the end of it. Our company uses highlighting colors to help us when we're doing machine conversions so that we don't put the wrong chip in the wrong socket. It's a good quick reference guide. Let me go over those colors with you. Yellow on the XU3 is the game EEPROM. That's your operating system and your theme information. And as the bulletin shows you there, the V123, if you follow that line all the way down there, it'll tell you that that is the theme. Like a V108 would be a regular reel-em-in, V123 is a cash for cash, a V109 would be a filthy rich, a V110, a boom. I know a lot of these off my head because I've worked with them.
Looks like you work for the company, huh?
Yeah. Okay. And here we have the XU2. You notice that's orange over here. Now, you're looking, you're going, why is this orange on this side and this is yellow on this side? Well, the chips that are manufactured out of our Chicago office, they highlight them on the back end of the EEPROM. And if the chip is burned out of our Las Vegas office, they highlight them at the front end of the EEPROM. That's a good company standard. But the main thing to remember is always check for that little dip in front of the chip.
You want to bring it up here and take a look?
Okay.
Shall we? You mean the notch?
Right, the notch. You can use your fingernail, just run it across the front of the EEPROM. Good, yeah, you can see a good shot of it right there on the screen.
Normally when you look at a chip, you look at it like this, with the notch on the left, and that indicates that that pin is pin number 1, and the pins are numbered counterclockwise around the chip.
Correct.
So this is like 1 through 12 and 13 through 24, or however many pins this is.
Right, and that's a 28 pin.
28 pins, so it's 1 through
Right.
14 and 15 through 28.
And notice here, it'll tell you what size of EEPROM it is. It's hard to see with the tape. See, in Nevada, we don't use tape to seal our EEPROMs like you do in most of your tribal gaming regulatory casinos.
It says 8 meg.
So it says 8 meg. Now, okay, on the board, if you come over to this little table here, right there. Okay, there's a legend here, the JP2 software. Now, our reel-em-in game, unlike our cast for cash, the reel-em-in is, we call it reel-em-in 1, and it doesn't have this LCD, it just has a top glass on it. I'm sure you've seen those games. Anybody seen regular reel-em-in? And we call this our reel-em-in 2 cast for cash, which has the LCD. And the old reel-em-in, the version 1, has 4 megabyte EEPROMs. So there's a jumper on there, JP2.
Where is the actual jumper?
Okay, it's,
Oh, here it is right here.
yeah, it's right down,
there.
yes. And you'll notice there's pins 1, 2, and 3, and a little black plug. IGT uses the same type of jumper as well on some of their boards.
As do regular computers.
Right.
They're too big for what they have. It just violated some kind of gaming rule, I'm sure.
Those were on pins 2 and 3, weren't they?
Yes, I hope.
Okay, because it
Well,
won't
gee
work.
whiz, how could we verify that, Ron? Let's see. The jumper should be, this is JP2,
Right,
and we have an 8 meg ROM, so it should be on the bottom 2 and 3,
correct.
which it is. Very nice that it's silkscreen right on the board. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we're glad that our engineers put that on there. It
That
makes
is-
it nice and easy to see.
Doesn't cost you anything, and it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, here's another one down here, JP3 sound. Notice that is set up the same way. Pins 1 and 2 are for 4 meg or less EEPROM. Pins 2 and 3 are for the 8 meg sound EEPROMs.
And JP3 is down, it says JP300 down here. Is that
Okay.
not the right one?
Yeah, here's the JP3 right there.
JP3 is over here on the other side. Are these the sound ROMs then? Over here?
Yes, those are the sound ROMs. And it will tell you what size they are if you can see through the tape. And
8 meg.
8 meg. Okay, now our reel-em-in 1 has 4 meg sound EEPROMs. So you would put the jumper on pins 1 and 2. On this particular model, the pins are on 2 and 3. Now, there's one way you can tell. Now, unlike the game and the graphics EPROMs, if the jumper is in the wrong place, the game won't come up. You'll just have a black screen. That's one way you can tell. On the sound EPROMs, if that jumper is in the wrong place, you'll usually hear 2 bongs at the startup. You've heard that bong when you power up the game. It goes kabong. We call that a startup bong. And it's one of our trademark sounds. And
Williams is into bongs, huh?
yeah, they like bongs. And you'll get 2 startup bongs. That means your jumper is most likely in the wrong position. So you just have to change it. Verify the size of your EPROM versus that little pay table that was shown on the CPU board. Okay, another thing about our CPU. And this CPU board, of course, is the 04. I'm standing right in front of the monitor here. Why do I do it? Just so I can see it. Okay.
So what do you want to look at?
Okay, this is the A004275
down
board.
there. All right.
Look at the part number here. You got that in?
Okay.
Okay, and it's a -04. Now, those are the only boards we have in California here, to my recollection, that are approved by GLI for California. We made an older board called the 1.5. This is a 1.5 Plus, and it had an auxiliary card on it for the video and one for the EPROMs. But these are probably the only boards that you've seen here in California, correct? Okay. Now, let's go over some of the parts of the CPU, just a couple of the sections here. One thing I want to show you as well, we have 2 more empty sockets down here.
Okay. Got him?
That's XU4 and 5. Now the chips, they're pretty much numbered in sequence all the way around. Starts at XU1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it goes over to the next column, and then the numbers increase as you go down. Now we have some programs out there such as Perfect Game, some of our newer themes that are coming out that have to use extra graphics memory. So by having this XU4 and 5, there'll be chips here as well. The XU4 will be green, and the XU5 will have a brown color code. So you have orange for XU2, yellow is for XU3, the game prom. XU3 is your most important one. Whenever you have to clear the RAM, has anybody here ever had to clear the RAM? Oh yeah. That happens. You have to pull that chip out and put in your clear chip and make sure you put it in the correct polarity with that notch to the right side, right there. I always use my fingernail, run it to make sure, because you can never tell. Like here, you've got the highlight color on one side of the chip, and on your XU3, it's on the opposite side. So if you line those bands up when you're putting the chips in, you're going to put an EPROM in backwards, and when you do that, you're going to blow it up.
Yeah, no second chances there, as you may have already found out the hard way.
Right.
The instant you flip the power on, you have definitely destroyed it.
And the same as your gaming regulators, your agents, when they're Cobotroning the EPROMs, they put them in backwards, they blow them up. I'm sure you've seen that before. So, yeah, we try to be very careful, you know, when we're plugging these in. Observe pin 1.
Does everyone here
through
know what a
28.
Cobotron is, what he's talking about there? A chip verifier?
Do they Cobotron the games or the chips out on the floor, or do they do it back in their lab? Both? Okay. 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 Right. I know whenever we ship out conversion kits to the casino, we have to send the EPROMs directly to the Gaming Commission, Tribal, TGO office. And they will Cobotron the chips, verify them, and the parts will come directly to your tech shop. As far as the glass, let's see, the inserts. Our games are pretty easy to convert. How many have converted one of our video games out there? Okay. We do have conversion kits. You might find that your slot director has one of our games and it's not taking in as much as he would like it to. So he will try another theme, and usually you're the person that will go out there and convert the game. If not, one of our friendly service technicians will be in the area. We'll do it for you. How many here know Thomas and Abel? Okay. Great couple of guys. They are our field service representatives for Southern California.
How far up do they go? Out of curiosity. They go Palm Springs and down, or do they go up to San
Well,
Francisco?
they go all the way up to the Chumash area, which is Santa Barbara, and then all the way down to Golden Acorn.
Wow.
So
Wow.
pretty
They're
much
on the
north.
road a lot. They're doing a lot of
Right,
driving.
they're always traveling all the time, so you know it may take them a day or two to get to your location. You have to be a little patient with them. Let's see, Saboba, that's near the Palm Springs area there. I was there probably about 5 months ago.
You're familiar, like it's,
Right, I just stopped in for a brief period of time. Okay, I know we have what's called a Spartan tester coming out, and it's just been approved by GLI Gaming for California, and it's a whole tester unit. And you'll be able, hopefully, you know, as long as your tribal approves it, you can put this tester in your shop, and if they'll let you test the CPU board or IO board, then you can get down to component level, and we will have training support classes as well for that. And you have the manual list. We have a drawing set. It's pretty thick. Has the drawings from all the PC boards in our game. So you can get down to component level for those of you who are really into bench repair, if you want to get down to component level repair. And we do have a class offered for that as well.
Really? Do you have to go to Chicago for that class? Or
No.
Bring it out here.
Yeah, actually, Frank Morrison, whose card you will see inside your folder there, he is technical support. He repairs all the CPU, I/O boards, back planes, which we pretty much scrap when they go bad, power supplies, that type of thing, west of the Mississippi River. And he is located in the Las Vegas office.
Ron, do you see much backplane failure from the field, or are those mostly factory fallouts?
Actually, if you get a short that's bad enough in the game, you get enough coins build up in one of the areas across the AC, then you can cause a burn up of the back plane.
It just vaporizes the traces off the water.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the traces. Sometimes you can't see them, sometimes you can. You see a little dot on the back plane.
All the way. Come on down. Ron Burrito, come on down.
Here we are.
All right. You are the next contestant on. All right. We have to hear that a lot, don't we?
Okay.
Well, these are really thin little trays.
Yeah, notice these are multi-layered boards. Right, you have 5 volts, your ground internally, and then your data traces on the outside.
Big ground in the middle of
Yes,
the
see the big ground grid there?
Yeah, well, that's nice.
A lot of times you can see maybe a little, or sometimes these can get scratched if you have one out and you're playing with it. For some reason you're examining it, looking for a short, you can cause damage as well by scratching one of those little traces. They are very sensitive. And that's the same thing with the CPU board and the I/O board.